This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name's Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to put it, man. Another incredibly frustrating game for the Rays, as I believe if you had any hope, which a lot of you guys didn't, rightfully so, of the Rays making the playoffs, everything just went down the drain. That was the final nail in the coffin. And it was the way that they've lost games all year. It was the offense not doing enough, and they had a lead and the bullpen blows it. And I don't want to pile on Pete here, but I thought he was really good outside of one pitch, and then Jones hit the one pitch that was a mistake, and it couldn't have been more of a mistake. It was a hanging slider right down the middle. And Pete went from giving up like 3 home runs all season to now I think it's 3 in his last 3 appearances, which isn't good enough. It's not good enough. And then Griffin Jax, who gets out of the one jam with the runner on third, less than 2. And then for some reason, I need someone to go ask Griffin Jax why he threw a fastball to Manzardo. Never should have happened, ever. He was throwing slider, swinging over all of them. He's sitting fastball. He's a dead red hitter. If he takes the slider, congratulations. Now you throw him a changeup after that. He should have never seen a fastball. And it's so frustrating because Jax was so good up until that moment. But yeah, I mean, the frustration is palpable. You win that game, the Mariners lose the day, you're 5.5 back, and then I like your odds going to Washington while they go to Cleveland. And now none of that matters. Now it's what draft pick are the Rays going to get? Now it's, will the young players continue to hit? And I was really disappointed by how uninspired the offense was from the 3rd inning on. And, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how Rasmussen was solid. We'll talk about how this was a final nail of the coffin. We're going to look ahead, but got to start with the bullpen blowing it again.
This is what you'll be talking about.
After the Rays led all game, the bottom of the half of the Guardians order after 1 out is where we get to our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Just hung a slider right down the middle and destroyed it. And it's so frustrating because the Rays up until that point, or even after that point, had the hardest 5 hits of the day. They, not that the Rays offense by any means was firing on all cylinders, but they outperformed the Guardians offense. And mistakes again by Pereira in center field led to a run, and then a button single got the other run. And it's just not good enough. I've been saying all year, the Rays are not good enough to overcome their mistakes, and they made too many mistakes in this one, to say the very least. But now we got to talk about the offense, because I thought the pitching was fine, and I also thought Fairbanks was really good. He just literally had one pitch, and they capitalized off that one pitch. And by the way the Rays season's going, of course they're going to capitalize off that one pitch. Same with Jax. Jax had one pitch, and that's all the Guardians needed to score their last 2 runs. The offense, Chandler Simpson, 0 for 5, comes up in a huge moment with 2 outs, couldn't get it done. I'm not going to pile on him. He has been really good all year. Going right when extra innings happened, you had to get it done there. The Guardians had the bottom of the order up. And not to mention, if it did go to extras, you had your 8-9 1-up. 8 is Carson Williams, who has been great to start, but we're starting to see that swing and miss trickle in, why he fell from 7th in MLB rankings to in the 20s. Nick Fortes, who is barely an MLB hitter, to be completely honest, and I don't think we should be expecting the Rays to be competitive when they routinely field 2 or 3 guys that aren't going to be on major league rosters next season, or if they are, they're not major league hitters. Like we talked about yesterday, even though Pereira had an RBI single today, he's not an MLB hitter. He's not. I don't think in the Rays' big-time future plans. Same with Nick Fortes, even though they traded for him. He's supposed to be really good defensively, which he has been for the most part, but he's not a great hitter. But Kevin Cash's hands were tied because he already pinched hit for Fiducia, who, again, is not much of an MLB hitter to show so far. So it's tough. Obviously, the Rays, like a lot of teams, have been ravaged by injuries, but it's also the guys that are going to be here next year. Like Chandler Simpson, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lowe Jr., Caminero, and Josh Love will be here next year. And after Junior's insane first game, he was very disappointing the next 2 games. And again, in games like this, you really miss Jonathan Ronda. You miss that bat in the middle of the lineup. And even games like this, with how bad Ha-Seong Kim has been, you miss him just to lengthen out this lineup a little bit more. Because when you have, again, Pereira hitting 6th or 5th or 6th, and it's just not ideal. And this was a game the Rays should have won. To put it simply, the Rays should have won this game, and the Rays probably should have won about 8 to 10 other games during this stretch too. But when you're not overly talented, your margin for error is almost none. And when the Rays make mistakes like they did today, they deserve to lose. Now, like I said, the Rays, I thought, were the better team today, and they didn't win. And a lot of times in baseball, a better team doesn't win. And it's just such a 180 in a span of 30 minutes and of how the Rays season completely changed, how you're looking at the next majority of the season changes. You go from having all this momentum going into Washington, the worst team in baseball, then going home to play the Mariners, which if all things shake out right, you're hopefully 4.5 back maybe, and that's the biggest series of the year. And then you play Cleveland again. Instead, I mean, this is just another kick in the a kick in the stomach, knocks the air out of you, like a lot of these losses have been. We're going to talk about Drew Rasmussen and how solid Drew Rasmussen won, and again, how about how this was the final nail in the coffin for the Rays' playoff chances right after this. This episode is brought to you by Upside. Hey Rays fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app on the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code football and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just by buying gas you already need. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just on their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time code football for a limited time 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's promo code football. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy of the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. Actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast and easy and backed up by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price that you pay. You guys know I've been to a lot of games this year. I've shared it with you guys. I've used Game Time every single time. It is the best ticketing app to get to your ball game. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Game Time app today. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Yesterday, August 26th, was the FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. And for those 24 hours, FanDuel will give you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP or eyeing a launch shot division winner or ready to crown a Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, that was your moment. So, and that's not all FanDuel is good for. FanDuel is good for the entire year. Right? During football season, especially now, they'll have, odds boosters and bets that FanDuel will give you even more money for if you guys go use them, especially with college football season starting this Saturday and then obviously NFL starting next weekend. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now because Futures Day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Let's talk about Drew Rasmussen because, again, he deserves better, man, with the season he's putting up. Another 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts. He hasn't given up more than 2 runs in a game since June 30th. And he deserves better. He deserves more than 10 wins or whatever he has now. He should have, honestly, 3-4 more wins, including this game today. It's just frustrating. No reason why the Rays should lose this game. This is one if you just keep on going through frustrating games this season, This is one of them, to say the very least. And like I said, this was the final nail in the coffin for the Rays playoff chances. I'm not going to talk about the Rays playoff chances unless they like sweep the Nationals and the Mariners get swept and they get to within like 4 games. Unless the Rays are within 4 games, the word playoff chances, playoffs in general, will not enter my vocabulary when talking about this team. They have not deserved to have that title. Baseball is the ultimate team game. And at one point during this horrid stretch since like June 29th or whatever it's been, that it's either been the offense starting pitching or bullpen that's come up flat. Now the bullpen more than others, but man, when you look at the names of the bullpen, like I like the Rays bullpen going into next year. They're basically have the same bullpen, and this bullpen's been getting a ton of swing and miss. It's just, man, their mistakes, because I thought they've been really good recently, especially since the West Coast trip. It's just every mistake they make has just been magnified. I mean, this one is up there, not as painful, but it's up there with the loss to the Mariners in Seattle when Jax gave up the 3-run homer to Raleigh because of the potential you had to set up a path for, going into the playoffs. And, this team more than others, I think, is going to be remembered for what could have been, because I think this Rays team was set up nicely for the playoffs. Now, I don't think the starting pitching was maybe where we thought it would be at the start of the season, but still a lot of guys that I trust, and a lot of those guys are going to be back next year. But, it's going to be a lot like last offseason. The Rays aren't going to make some full-sale changes. This is most likely going to be the team. The core of the team is going to stay the same. And hopefully the new owners come in, because more than anything, the Rays need a right-handed outfield bat and then kind of go from there. So, yeah, the Rays signings in the offseason as of late haven't been too spectacular, but, I think this team is a piece or two away from contending. They're probably a starting pitcher and maybe 1 or 2 bats away from really contending and really, getting back to those 90-plus wins that you need to make the playoffs. So, let's preview the series in the nation's capital tomorrow, or on Friday, 6:45. First pitch in Washington is going to be Adrian Hauser versus Mitchell Parker. And Mitchell Parker is one of the worst qualified starters in baseball. He's 7-14 with over 6 ERA. His last time out, he's given up, his ERA in August is 12. Just put it like that. He gave up 6 earned against the Phillies on Saturday. The game before that, he only went an inning 2/3, gave up 5 earned. Against the game before that, against the Royals, he went 5 1/3, gave up 5 earned. And against the Brewers earlier this month, he gave up 8 earned. This should be a game where the Rays are licking their chops to get after a young pitcher. Now, he's a lefty. We just saw how the Rays struggled mightily against lefties with this series a game ago. And he's going to be going up against Adrian Hauser, who's had a really nice stretch for the Rays his last 2 games. Last 2 games for the Rays. He got roughed up a little bit at the end of St. Louis game, but picked up the win. He went 5 shutout in San Francisco. So, the Rays should take advantage here. They're licking their wounds even more. They just got annihilated by the Yankees for 3 games. The Nationals did. And now they're coming home. Again, they're 53-80. They're one of the 2 worst teams in baseball. Don't give them any air. Just keep on keeping the pressure on. And, maybe the Rays can sweep and they can end this road trip on a high note. Because 4-2 on this road trip, I thought was mandatory going into it, regardless if you're looking at playoffs or not. Let's get to the comments. Also, if you guys are in here, please leave a like. As we go to Gary, says Kyle Manzardo, the former Ray, delivers game-winning hit. Aggravating loss, especially since the Rays could have gone back to 500 with a sweep of the Nationals, who've been very bad this year. Yeah, I didn't even think of it like that, but huge missed opportunity because I thought the Rays did enough to win yesterday defensively and pitching to win yesterday. The offense just decided to take the night off. And today, the offense still wasn't any better against a pitcher that's not great, against a bullpen that's not great. Again, the Rays are missing a lot of hittable pitches, I think. The Guardians aren't getting many hittable pitches in this game. And the hittable pitches they got, they did damage with. And it's just frustrating that yesterday the Rays let the Guardians up for air. They were floundering. They needed a lifeline. And Shane Baz in the first inning gave them that. And even if it was just for a second, they got enough oxygen to keep on fighting and get that win. Today, I mean, they were throwing a whole life preserver and got the lifeboat and, saved them from drowning, basically, is what happened in the 9th and 10th inning. As we go to Gary again, they said the series in Cleveland is really a microcosm how the season has gone for the Rays over the past 2 months. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Yeah, that's a great point. That is the best point. I mean, it might even be 5 steps back recently. You think you get something going, and then it's like you get hit with a bulldozer and you fly backwards 20 yards. That's what it feels like. As we go to Jack Sakes, he says, well, you don't make the kill, you get killed. Must learn to not let up next season. I don't know. It's about letting up. Like I said, I thought Pete actually pitched fine. He had 1 pitch that he hung and I got destroyed. He dominated the other 3 hitters that he faced. Except, well, that's not true. He had 1 more to the next batter. I thought it was a home run, a walk-off home run, but still, it's a fastball at the bottom part of the zone. It wasn't an awful pitch, but yeah, I don't know if this team. I want to say like this team doesn't have a killer instinct to win. Like I think they're plenty of that. Like these are professional athletes. Like they have that. It's just a lot of the times this season the ball hasn't bounced their way, and it's scary because the Rays this year have done a lot of things better than last year. Like they have, hit much better with runners in scoring position this year. And that's not a guarantee for next year. The Rays are top 10 in that. The Rays could be bottom 10 in that next year, and everything that could be better next season bullpen-wise could be a mute point. But, yeah, I want to harp on the offense one more time. They went from the third inning after Brandon Lowe's home run to Jake Magnum's single, who ended up getting picked off, of not getting a hit. That's the second time in back-to-back games against an average starter, to say the best, to an average bullpen, to say the best. That's happened. And to me, I mean, it's just this offense. One, not having a ton of guys that are in the future plans of the Rays or that I think are like bona fide MLB hitters. And two, it's just, that I guess they used all their runs in the first game. But we'll wrap it there. If you guys did hop in here, I appreciate it. Make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys Friday night.